Call this meeting to order. We're starting with the public hearing, open public hearing. So I will ask our corporate administrator to read aloud.
Thank you. This public hearing is being held to hear from anyone who may be affected by the proposed changes to the city's zoning bylaw regarding the properties located at 1524, 28, 32, 36, and 1540 Loran Drive. Zoning bylaw number 4181 rezones the properties from RS1, residential, single-family zone, to RM2, residential, medium-density, multiple-family zone. Included on the agenda of this public hearing is the staff report to council, the traffic impact study, the parking management map, and 2 responses received from Marquita Lepke in opposition to the rezoning.
Okay, so we have a report number 13261 from the Director of Infrastructure and Sustainable Development, rezoning amendment bylaw 4181, 2013, 1524, 1528, 1532, 1536, and 1540 Loran Drive, Sundance Canyon Estates.
Now that report will just be received for information at the public hearing.
Okay then. Okay. So should we go to correspondence and delegations to move forward with this first? Okay. So we have letters here from Marchetta Lecapi in regards to the rezoning Loran.
I think you should call for comments in the gallery.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So
That's
do we
what-
have any comments from Marquita? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Worship, Council. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here. I hope you all got a copy of my letter. I don't think I should need to read it out again, but it's there for the record. I just want you to know that I'm here as a resident of the Loran. I've lived there for 30 years. And about 12 years ago, my son and daughter-in-law, Lorelei, the other Mrs. Lepke, decided they no longer wanted to live in the crazy city and moved to Dawson Creek and have lived there also for about the last 12 years. In that time, we've seen quite a change. When they came, the neighborhood was alive with children and families. They had lots of kids to go to school with, play with, you name it. Then once the oil and gas industry started to light up, rents were raised on the properties across from us. Families moved out, and temporary workers have moved in. It's easy to tell because you get driveways with 2, 3, 4 vehicles, and the streets are plugged with parked vehicles. Our corner is very difficult to maneuver at times, and it's only going to get worse with winter. Looking at the plans that this company has proposed of putting 32 potential family or residents in an area that's designed for 5 single-family dwellings, I can only see a potential nightmare. The drawings show that they can squeeze in 32 cars across the back of the building. But there isn't one residence in our neighborhood with one vehicle. That's, I'm sure you can see anytime you drive up 15th, where you get houses with these temporary workers parking 4 pickup trucks across the front lawn. That's commonplace. Well, unfortunately, our streets are already heavily plugged. I did bring some pictures, but I'm sure if any of you went up there, you're quite well aware of what I'm talking about. There isn't a residence with one vehicle. So where they plan, you didn't read out the parking or what have you planned, where they plan to put 64, when you've got 3 bedrooms to each, 6 bedrooms to each of the 8, you've got 48 possible residents, probable residents. Where are all those vehicles going to go? The property itself you take that back 4 feet from that lamppost. They're going to have to dig it out and put in a retaining wall at the back that's going to have to be at least 8-10 feet high. So then you're going to have the building and the retaining wall. And the only place to get in and out of there for 32 vehicles is a narrow lane at either end. Where do you think they're going to put the snow? The plans call for snow storage in between, the 12 feet in between the buildings. That's a pipe dream. Already with the snow blowing off the roofs down in between the buildings, it's already a nightmare. Besides these logistics, what concerns me more than that is that these residents are extremely small. The ones on the ground floor are 16 by 35. That's even smaller than a Vancouver apartment. Then the second floor is another family with 2 bedrooms up above that. They have access to their apartments by a staircase outside at the back. I'd like to know where's the second access to and from the upstairs in case of fire. Do they have balconies? Do they have an inside staircase? If they do, that downstairs apartment's even smaller. The thing with that is it's not sustainable. And you know, the city's given a lot of coverage to sustainability on their website, but I don't consider this sustainable. This is strictly designed for temporary workers. If the economy tanks, they move out. Families couldn't live there. They're not big enough. There's no yard. There's nothing. They're very small. If the economy levels off and remains vibrant, and they decide to stay, they're not suitable if they want to get married, have children, and stay. We all know it wasn't the young men looking for their fortunes that settled this country. It was the families. The families. You're turning Loran into a warehouse for temporary workers. with this zoning. So I would ask you to really consider, have you done all you can to make this a sustainable neighborhood? Thank you.
Thank you, Marquita. Any comments? Councillor Malcolmson?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everybody present. I had hoped, Marquita, perhaps to maybe elaborate on or further discuss some of the points that you brought up when you spoke. On the question of Loran being a, well, the proposal here that you're seeing contributing to the situation where Loran would be some sort of a warehouse. I'm just curious about your perception of the role of the proposal in the neighborhood. I do see that I do understand your opinion on one hand of it not possibly contributing to sustainability, but on the other hand, looking at the realities in the community, you know, the great difficulties that people are currently having finding housing to get into the market, or, you know, sort of increase their independence, you know, somewhere to start from. Do you make anything of that?
If you go one block north of us, and I'm sure you have,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see row upon row of apartment buildings going up.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would like to see temporary residents living.
Very good.
Yes, I understand young people need affordable places to get into. But I think if you look around town, there's still a lot of older residents, as us seniors retire and move out of our homes, that have suited the younger population quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody wants to live in an apartment. That's not a sign of a healthy community. When the ratio gets so out of whack that our whole neighborhood would end up with about 5–10% single-family dwellings and the rest rental apartments.
Yeah.
That's not a good ratio, not healthy.
Thank you. Councillor McFadden?
Your Worship, I have a question. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time. Perhaps it should be addressed later, but there's 5 city lots there now. What are the size of those city lots? If it's in here, I've missed it, but I'm not sure if now is the time or later during Mary's business. Perhaps staff could help me with that.
I don't know, Kev.
Yeah, through your worship, I don't have the measurements in front of me. I know they are shallower lots than standard. I believe they're less than 100 feet deep, which does create some depth issues. Width, I don't have off the top.
We'll get it before the report is considered in the open meeting.
Yeah, I'd be interested in the width. Like, there's 5 lots. How wide are they? Are they 40, 50, 60 feet? But I'll wait until later on in the meeting. This probably is the inappropriate time. But thank you, Marquette. I appreciate your coming out this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Marquita. And we'll close this public hearing and move into our regular council meeting. Thank you. So with that, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with Councillor Schumann. Councillor Schumann?
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. So I brought this forward. As you know, we've been a part of the Green Building Leaders for about 5 years. We've had several different initiatives. The solar hot water or solar ready bylaw we've put into place in our community, which has inspired other communities to do so. our resolution in 2011 at UBCM around the renewable energy requirements to new construction. So this is just a letter to government asking that we continue to make our buildings in BC efficient. Buildings in BC are responsible for over 11% of greenhouse gas emissions, and anything that we can do to continue to increase the efficiency in our buildings is something we should do. So I would like to move that we send this letter to our government representatives supporting the energy efficiency measures within the green building leaders sort of work.
So you're making that motion?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a seconder? Anybody that will second that motion?
For discussion, yes.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Councillor?
Thank you. I understand the theory behind this, but I'm not prepared to support this at this time. I'm concerned that, putting forward that homes are electric car ready, now we're downloading on the consumer. In Dawson Creek, I don't know how many electric cars we have. I think we have one, and I think it's city-owned. I don't know what the usage has been of our electric charging stations. The other concern I have is with the energy rating labeling on homes, and my concern is that that's a Pandora's box, and I really see, for one thing, mortgage companies grabbing that and using it as a standard for approving mortgages for young families starting out. I think new builders are building energy efficient homes. I don't think they require that label, but I think we're creating a void by promoting that for homes that need to be renovated. So I have great concerns with this, and I will not be supporting this motion because of those concerns and conversations I've had within the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McFadden?
I don't know, is there any community in the province that is actually doing this? And as I understand, there is a problem with certification. Where did the inspectors come from to certify it? And I did have a couple of chats on Thursday and Friday with some realtors who wish to remain nameless, but they said don't go there. It creates more problems than it solves. So I don't think I can support this unless somebody can convince me otherwise.
Councillor Schumann?
Okay, so to Shaylee's or Councillor Wilbur's point about the electric vehicle thing there, these are not things that will be imposed upon communities. These are a range of different opt-in measures that communities could choose if they so wish, just like our solar readiness. They could choose to do so. And with regards to the build-in labeling, that's also in the letter, it's worked towards. So it's not that any of this is being imposed on anyone. We would like to see the province look at something that will work. Perhaps labeling the older buildings isn't something that's going to work as easily as they had thought it would. But moving forward with new buildings, it would be something that might be beneficial to consumers and sellers even. We recognize I did invite you all to a webinar to explain all of this, but of course nobody participated, so it might be a little confusing for you all, but they're not. The letter isn't saying, we want, this is what you need to do. It's like we want to move forward towards energy labeling. And the other things, the opt-in things, they're not being imposed on communities either. So this letter is just a letter asking the province to consider energy efficiency in buildings with these different measures, and you don't support it, you don't support it. all the information is there. It makes perfect and complete sense to me. But of course, I am interested in this stuff and sort of have followed along. So.
Thank you. Councillor Parkland?
Okay. Well, I too am interested in this whole question of climate change, and you know, I looked at this letter, and there are some red flags go up in my mind. You know, at a time when the province is at a frenzy to try to move forward with LNG, and some authorities, knowledgeable authorities, talk about the carbon loading of our atmosphere from that will go up 50% at least. And then we see this, and the one that really I have problems with is, and I'll read it in its entirety. The third approach is the adoption of energy labeling of residential buildings at time of sale. Faced with one of the most significant financial decisions of their lives, BC homebuyers should have access to reliable and comparable home energy efficiency information. Under the current voluntary system, fewer than 10% of Canadian houses have a rating, and the rating is not readily available to home buyers. We ask the province to explore and work towards a BC-wide labelling requirement at time of sale. I cannot support that. I have talked to quite a few people as well, and I know many people on fixed income or low income struggling to keep in their homes, and then at time of sale there's to be a labelling. Who's going to do it? How do these people have the means to improve the energy efficiency of their home? I think this, whenever I've bought a home, I have always asked for documents that indicate the property taxes over the previous year, and also the hydro and gas bills. I can get a bit of a lens on what it costs as well. The other sort of thing that's always amazed me was a documentary on the use of geothermal heating in homes, which is a great thing to do if you can have access to that. But the same commentary was talking about the size of homes, and part of the equation when we look at things is the energy required to put in all the various components that go into these large homes, and how the net of it was a negative. It's a complex, so many variables. I do appreciate the passion people have for this topic, but I cannot support this letter as it's presented. Primarily the labeling issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I call the question? All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried.
Defeated.
Pardon? Defeated, sorry. Okay, any other councillor business? Councillor McFadden.
Just a quick update on the new air service, Your Worship. We're just starting the second week, and I'm happy to report that on the very first morning, when they came in on the night of the 11th to get ready for the first morning trip, they had 23 passengers, and they're averaging 12 to 15 each day for the morning flight out, which is well more than they expected, given the short time frame. And it has not impacted in any way the other afternoon flights. So the airline and the airport folks are quite happy. That's about it, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
There was something else, but it slipped my mind. So.
Well, maybe you think about it.
Thank you.
Councillor Schumann.
I just want to comment to Councillor McFadden. You'll be happy to know that I have booked my flights out of CMA to go to my UBCM meetings this week.
There's a girl.
You can buy me a coffee for that later.
I absolutely will.
Yeah, actually, I know some people that had canceled their original flying plans and looked at
Yeah,
Central Mountain, so that's great.
yeah. The airline's very happy.
Yeah, I think I seen Councillor Malkinson's hand up.
Good morning again, Madam Chair. Just a couple of things, I suppose, ought to be brought to Council's attention or mentioned this morning. I, as many others present, must understand the gravity and excuse me, the gravity and seriousness of the typhoon being experienced in the Philippines. Well, that was experienced in the Philippines. Many members of our community have been, I believe, indirectly affected by it in one way or another. And I would like to congratulate all those that are leading the response the response and support roles to the members that are feeling the effects of the typhoon, I suppose. And I understand that there's been many donations collected at local businesses, and that there are fundraisers currently being held, and I believe that a local business just yesterday donated all the proceeds of the haircuts that they collected to the group that has formed in town here. So, excuse me. So just my sincere congratulations to them. I'll be attending the Dawson Creek Athletic Association AGM on Wednesday, and I hope to. I believe that Councillor McFadden is the liaison to that?
That's correct,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Very good. And I also wanted to make Council aware of a craft fair happening at the library this Saturday. It's a wonderful, wonderful event. So I encourage you all to attend. Also the Winter Wonderland public skate that we're sponsoring as council. It's a free skate, I believe. So if you can get your skates on and head down there, it's always a lot of fun.
Thank you, Councillor Malkinson. Any other
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
Councillor Pawson.
Just one matter for future discussion. A telephone poll of councillors occurred as it relates to an expenditure issue. Our corporate officer did her job thoroughly. This is no criticism of any work that's been done at all. There were 5 people voted in favour and 2 against. I would like to put forward for future discussion that if there's not a unanimous support for something, that the matter we arrange for a meeting where we can listen to each other's opinions. It seems to me that at least I have been persuaded by the views of fellow councillors as I've heard them when the resolution has been put forward from council. And when you have a sort of a telephone poll or email poll, there's a void there. If everyone's in favour of it, it doesn't really matter. But I'm just flagging that for future discussion if through staff it can be brought forward and we discuss it when people have had time to think about the question. The other matters, so I pass that on through you to staff. The Malzero Park Society signed the lease document between the city and Malzero Park Society, and things are moving forward very well with the Historical Society and Malzero Park Society signing off on that. So we hope that's taken care of. The Malzero Park Society is moving forward with 3 projects and is seeking Northern Development Trust Fund support for them. One is the upgrading of the washrooms, showers, laundry facility at the RV component of the Malzero Park. And that would be, I think, the number one priority. Number two is they're working hard at the moving of the Bay Tree Community Hall to the Mile Zero Park. That has been offered. It's a hall in very good condition and will be a very good display area. And the third is a replica service station. And we're looking at partnerships in that. So things are doing well. I'm not sure I reported this last time, but revenue from the RV park this year was up fairly significantly. So that's, as you know, the RV park is in addition to what the city provides for Rotary Lake as fee for service, the RV park is the main source of revenue. So that extra revenue has certainly put the Mile Zero Park Society in a good position to match any funds that come in. So thank you very much.
Gee, I don't know what to do here. We're supposed to be moving into proclamations. Okay, Councillor Malkinson.
I move we vary the agenda to accommodate the proclamations right now. Is that all right?
You don't have to vary the agenda.
The mayor always does it by unanimous consent, but yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Why don't we start with proclamations? Okay, whereas in the face of crime or conflict, restorative justice offers a philosophy and approach that views these matters principally as harm done to people and relationships, and whereas restorative justice is a non-adversarial, non-retributive approach to justice that emphasizes healing in victims, accountability of offenders, and the involvement of citizens in creating healthier, safer communities. And whereas this year's theme for Restorative Justice Week is Inspiring Innovations, it is an opportunity to learn about restorative justice, educate, and celebrate along with other communities across the country during this week, the week. Now, therefore, I do hereby proclaim November 17th to November 24th, 2013 as Restorative Justice Week in Dawson Creek. So we have some people here. Oh, we don't?
Yeah, through your worship, she was not able to attend due to the snow.
Oh, okay.
So she had asked that just be read out.
Okay then, okay, great. Okay, the next proclamation, whereas protecting our air shed is a shared responsibility whereby individuals can make a significant and sustainable difference by idling less, choosing alternative transportation, and adopting an attitude that values clean air as a finite resource. And whereas toxic gases generated by vehicle exhaust are harmful to human health, air quality, and contribute to the greenhouse gas effects. Furthermore, vehicle exhaust contains fine particulate matter that through frequent exposure can lead to respiratory diseases and chronic illness, with children most commonly exposed. And whereas even on cold winter days, vehicle engines require 3 minutes or less of idling. Now therefore I do hereby proclaim November 23rd to 29th, 2013 as the Idle Less Week in Dawson Creek, and encourage all residents to take a proactive role in minimizing harmful health and environmental impacts of excessive vehicle idling. Do we have anybody to speak to that?
Yes.
Okay, please, come on up.
Just come forward.
Is this all for Yeah. Right, well, come on up. We'll take a photo and then we'll have you tell us all about it.
What number are we on here?
She's just going through the actual proclamations rather than keeping the numbers.
and Council, thank you for having us today. On behalf of the Northern Environmental Action Team and Sustainable Dawson Creek, it's my honor to propose Idleless Week in Dawson Creek from November 23rd to the 29th. I'm joined by Melanie Turcotte from Sustainable Dawson Creek, also George from Northern Health, and this dedicated group of students. The Idleless campaign seeks to remind our community members of the health and environmental impacts of excessive vehicle idling. The goal of Idleless is to provide idle facts and recommended idle times so that drivers can adjust their idling behavior and make a positive contribution to our shared airshed. We've chosen to run this campaign throughout November and early December to align our message with the timing of colder temperatures and increased vehicle idling. Idling is an important topic in Dawson Creek because particulate matter and toxic gases generated by vehicle exhaust can cause respiratory disease and chronic illness, particularly in young lungs from concentrated exposure. From an environmental perspective, idling impacts our local air quality and contributes to the greenhouse gas effect. Drivers idle to warm up their vehicles, waiting in school zones, drive-thrus, and while running errands. We've created an idle index to help drivers idle responsibly throughout the winter. In looking at the idle index, it's important to note that the average winter temperature in Dawson Creek is -13 degrees Celsius. According to our index, this corresponds to an idle time of 3 minutes or less. The city does have a green car policy, so if you'd like a copy of that, we can make those available to you. And it does vary from our idle index, but essentially, we have our idle index here. And if it's warmer than 0 degrees, we recommend no idling. From -1 to -10, we recommend 1 to 2 minutes or less of idling. If it's -11 to -20, 3 minutes or less. And if it's -21 or colder, you might require 5 minutes or less. But also keep in mind the wind chill, because that is something that will probably increase your idle time. So we now have a little bit of a myth or fact quiz for you all, and the students are going to help me out with that.
Drivers are the most vulnerable to impacts from vehicle exhaust.
Myth.
Myth or fact?
Myth.
Children are most vulnerable because they are closer to the height of the exhaust pipe. When a small child walks past a running vehicle, they walk through the exhaust cloud, breathing in many toxic gases and particulate matter. All of these chemicals will stay in their bodies for the rest of their lives. These chemicals can also lead to respiratory diseases and chronic illnesses. School zones are particularly bad environments as parents idle at pickup and drop-off zones.
By idling 3 minutes per day, a driver can significantly and positively make a difference to our air quality and their wallet.
Myth or fact?
By idling 3 minutes a day?
Yeah.
Now let's go with fact.
Fact.
Sure.
Yay,
Canadians voluntarily idle their vehicles for more than 75 million minutes per day. That is like one vehicle idling for 144 years. If Canadians idle for only 3 minutes every day, we would save 630 million liters of fuel, which would be equal to taking 320,000 cars off the road for a whole year.
By using a block heater, you can increase your fuel economy by up to 10%.
Myth or fact?
Oh, let's go with fact.
Let's go fact.
Fact.
Perfect.
By using a block heater, you can avoid A block heater keeps your oil warm, improving the flow to moving parts of the engine. It takes only 2 hours for a block heater to warm the oil, so the vehicle doesn't need to be plugged in overnight. At -20 degrees Celsius, this can improve your fuel economy by as much as 10%.
Okay. The best way to warm up a vehicle is to drive it. Myth or fact?
Fact.
Ta-da.
Fact. The most efficient way to warm up all moving parts, including tires, transmission, and wheel bearings, is to actually drive your vehicle immediately and gently. As long as you've scraped the windows and cleared any snow, your vehicle is ready to operate. By using the block heater and idle index as a guide, and by scraping windows, drivers can easily reduce their idle time to 3 minutes or less in even the worst winter conditions.
Council is always right.
Yeah, well done.
I just wanted to emphasize the drive and the gently part, so you don't get in your car and race
Got it.
down the road sliding sideways as the snow's falling. Just wanted to point that out.
Good
Gently.
point. Okay, so Idlest Week kicks off on November 23rd, 2013 at Christmas at the Mall. We will be there with Idlest information, taking pledges to idle for 3 minutes or less, and other fun activities. The students have volunteered to tour visitors through a new city bus in an effort to introduce the public to the new buses and to promote alternative transportation. In preparation for this event, a coloring and poster contest has been distributed through all Dawson Creek and area schools. There is a poster here ready for the competition. And the coloring contest, I can show you that after. All youth are encouraged to participate and should contact myself at NEAT if they don't already have a copy. 3 entries from each category will be selected by November 29th for the 2014 Idlest School Calendar. Entries will be displayed at the mall during Idlest Week. Also throughout Idlest Week, a survey challenge will be distributed to downtown businesses. Our goal is to engage businesses and get them thinking about staff transportation options such as carpooling, busing, walking, or cycling, and also to gauge their interest in bike racks and stall signage. There are several opportunities for the public to participate and to win prizes during Idlest Week and throughout the month of November. All pledgers will receive an Idlest vehicle decal, and by listening to CJDC on Thursdays at 9:20 a.m., you could be a lucky caller. There's other great prizes also. So we're very excited to present and support Idlest Week. As the proclamation states, protecting our airshed is a shared responsibility, and individuals can make a significant and sustainable difference. We at NEAT and Sustainable Dawson Creek and Northern Health encourage members of our community to idle less, choose alternative transportation, and adopt an attitude that values clean air as a finite resource. Thank you again for having us and for declaring Idlest Week.
I just want to take a minute here just to say that we kick it off. Catherine spoke about how the kickoff for Idlest Week is starting on November 23rd at the Christmas at the Mall. That'll start at the Dawson Mall. And this Ride the Bus for Free is been approved by council, so it'll go from November 23rd to the 29th. As you get on the bus, the driver will give you a ticket, a draw ticket, and it'll be placed in the draw. On November 29th, it'll be the last day of the Ride the Bus Free. The draw will be taking place at the Co-op Mall. So we have both malls participating in this event. Thank you.
Okay, okay, thank you, Catherine.
Council is infallible.
Okay, thank you, Catherine and her action team,
We're
and
number
Melanie. We have
6-2, Your Worship.
6-2.
Yep.
Okay, Jenny Schneider and Library Board in attendance for an update on activities and survey currently out in the community.
I believe we need just a little time to set up, unless I'm incorrect. Got a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh,
Yeah.
We have a PowerPoint. It's best to run it off of here or off of your computer.
If you have not snippet.
Of course I did.
That's probably
Folks, that I'm going to be changing hats here. I, in Marilyn's absence, who is unfortunately tending to some personal matters this morning, I'm going to be giving the introductions for the presentation. I suppose, firstly, I'd like to introduce all of you to the members of the board and Jenny as well that we have here present this morning. We've got the member Lorna Barrett at the back there, who has been on the board since before I have, and we've got Michael Dion as well, who is currently taking his legislated mandatory 1-year break from service to the board, but I don't think that he's let that be any dampen on. I don't think he's let that dampen his enthusiasm or belief in the strong vision that the board has for the future of the library and its role in the community. So I encourage all of you heartily to take note of the information that's provided in the presentation. I found it very educational, and I suppose putting on the other hat, I welcome you folks to the meeting. We're happy to be here. It's all good. So I believe Michael's gonna run through the PowerPoint.
You bet. I'll take a couple minutes beforehand. Marilyn Bielak's mother had the good sense to have a daughter that was a nurse, so that when she fell down yesterday, her daughter was there to look out for her. So that's why she's not here today. But she did ask me to say a couple of words about going back 41 years ago now when the library was open. It was a community and city event. People got together, they raised money, they found ways to do it, and they made it happen. It was originally one of the options for the centennial money in 1967. And when that didn't happen, when we got the pool instead, they said, okay, how much was that money? They went to an architect, said, design us a library for that much money. And then they went out, got the money, and built it. So I think we're carrying on the sort of the legacy of the cooperation between the city and the public in terms of running it and planning for it and doing whatnot. So that's where we're at today. And we'll start off with a bit of a overview. There's some new faces in the room. So we'll go through just the recent history in terms of our strategic planning. In the fall of 2011, we made a presentation to council. We were asked to come in and talk about historical usage and projected growth. So when we looked at cardholder growth versus population growth, we found out that we're outstripping the city population growth by about 2 to 1. The library is growing cardholders about 5 to 6% a year, where the city's in the 2 to 3%. So people are using the library. They continue to do so. It's a good thing. So that was all fine and well. If it's growing that fast, what are we going to do? Which was why we were asked to come in. So in the spring of 2012, the board came down to City Hall. We met with city staff and council, and we wanted to talk a bit about the library's future. So we met downstairs and we just started talking. It's pretty clear that the library isn't just a place to go for books anymore. It's become more of a community center, and people tend to gather there to do things together. The staff does a great job at thinking of events and finding ways to bring people into the library, but more and more, the patrons are saying, hey, can you do this? We'd like to play games on a Sunday with our families. Can you do that? Sure, let's do that. So when people bring it forward, staff does a great job of putting that on, all while the library is open. So it becomes very, very full. The usual short-term maintenance, parking, accessibility issues. There's no elevator. There's very limited parking. Carpets, you're moving, because every one of these events you have to move furniture around, so the carpet gets moved and stretched and whatnot. So we talked about that stuff. We then went back as a board and met with the staff, and we said, okay, these are where do we think the library is going? Based on what people are telling us, based on what you think, based on things we've read, the lives you live, what do we think it's going to look like? We all agreed it's very crowded. We took the big tape measures out, we went out, we measured the building, we divided it up by areas, where the kids programs, where the seniors programs, what's the physical size of the lot. And then we said, okay, in a perfect world, if you could have everything you wanted, how much room do we need for kids programs? How much rooms do we need for the collection? How much do we need for storage? And we're about half the size we need to be, in a perfect world, if we could have everything we wanted. Whatever that space looks like, it needs to be adaptable. And we're going to show a little later on the number of events that happen during the course of a year. And like I say, for every one of them, you have to set up, you have to tear down, you have to move around, while keeping the library open for everybody else that's not attending those events. Of course, the accessibility issues, parking, came up. We're very, very short on storage, as well as quiet study areas. I know myself, when I was in high school in the 80s, the library was a good place to go to study. It was pretty quiet, and there was places you could go, and not so much anymore. There's lots of people around. So we knew where we were and where we wanted to go. What do the people that use the library want to do? Cue the survey. We decided to put out a survey. So there's one in all of your boxes. We'll be collecting them when we go. Feel free to fill them out. Cue laughter. No. But seriously, please fill them out. Send them back to us. Thank you. Basically, if you look at the top left-hand side, it says, who are you? If you look towards the bottom in the middle, it says, what do you do at the library? And on the right-hand side, says, how are we doing? Do you like what's happening at the library? We put in a little carrot as a draw for an iPad, and I forget the name of the lady that won, maybe Jenny knows.
Donna Stanek.
Won on a random draw, so she won an iPad. We had, well, we'll go into it next. We put it out October 15th. We got 382 responses. So if we use 14,500 as a rough estimate of the population, we can be 95% sure that the answers we're getting are plus or minus 5% in line with what the population would tell us if we went to everybody. If there's statisticians in the room, they'd probably understand that better than everybody else, but I spent about an hour reviewing my statistics stuff from school, and it seems to make sense to me. So it's a pretty good snapshot. Who participated? Most everybody was over 19 years old. 3/4 of them were from City of Dawson Creek, and most of those people had a library card. The interesting thing that goes along with that is that of the people that had a library card, 90% of them actually went to the library in the last year. So that was nice too. So some selected things we took out. And there's lots of good information for the staff in terms of what type of books do they want and what hours do we want you open and those sorts of things that we don't need to necessarily get into in front of council right here. But you can see people are still coming to look for books. But beyond that, they're attending programs and special events. That's what they're coming for. Specifically with the special events, it's kind of almost evenly broke down between they're coming to single programs, purse swaps and Lego building days versus book launches and poetry readings, which are more special events or celebrations, you know. So again, we talked about the books and services, but if you put it all together and take a look at the comments and whatnot, the key finding is that people like what's happening at the library and the people working there, the services they provide, which is kind of what we were hoping for. And in actual fact, the survey was a bit of a love fest. You had to look real hard for the areas for improvement. So if you rank what's going on, there's that love fest I'm talking about. On a scale, you know, from 0, horrible, needs improvement, to 4, it's perfect, everything's pretty much over 3. Except, of course, for parking, which I think everybody in this room could have probably guessed before we even put the survey out. Services, programs, special events, people like that. But then again, if you dig into the comments in the selection of books, hours of operation, accessibility, then you start getting some pretty good feedback that says, hey, this is great, we want to see a little more of it. We can't get upstairs with our strollers, never mind wheelchairs. So they like the services, they like the programs, they like the events. Are we home? Oh, Tyra. Oh, there we go. They like what we do. Programs, special events are a big part of what people like about the library. That's the community center aspect of it. Again, the staff puts out events, people ask for events. We talk a lot about it, but what does it look like over the course of a year? So we took a calendar for the whole year. We broke stuff up into special events. Now these are the French immersion parents come together and put together a story time for their kids. So they set that up. And these are things that are advertised and the community has a chance to sort of, you know, plan their day around it. Cookbook swaps, purse swaps, video game swaps. We had a Lego building weekend. The little block that jumped up there, that was specific story times for the Child Development Center. Classes come to visit the library. The librarians go to visit classes. Books in Bloom, Pinterest craft nights, and programs specifically for teens. Teen Pinterest, movie nights, manga, anime, whatever they're into. Book launches, poetry readings. That's aside from the regular programs, the books and the babies and books, toddler tales. There's a lot of those. Those are the yellow stars. And then you have one-time events. People that are doing homeschooling that need someone to invigilate an exam for their kids. People that have gone back to school that are doing online that need someone to proctor their exams for them. There's a lot of stuff at the library through the course of a year. And every one of those events has to be set up for and has to be taken down. You have to adapt that into the space that's there. I don't know how the staff does it. I've seen them go, and they just don't stop. It's incredible. What does that look like in pictures? If you look at the pictures, the key point, I think, is yes, it's full, and yes, it's busy. The library's open. I mean, these are people here for special events, but if you look in the back, there's people looking for books. It's in the middle of the library. So when we say it's crowded, it is crowded. But the staff, smile on their face, they just get it done. Even outside. We fill up that area too. So finish it off with a couple of smiling librarians. So, back to the results. The 3 key points to take away are, people like what we do. They want to see more of it. And when they get there to do it, they'd like to have a little bit of room to spread about, and they'd like to be able to get to those spaces. So that's, you know, if you have to look at it from a 1,000 feet up, that's what the survey's telling us. SurveyMonkey, which is the service we used, has a really neat feature where you can sort of drill into the results in the comments section and find the key words. So we're looking at the survey and we're saying they like what we do and they want more of it. But when you read the text, the people that answered it, that's their words. And if you look at accessibility, this is their words. Of the people that made comments, these are the words they used and the number of times they used them. Elevator, upstairs, access, wheelchair, difficult. When you look at the workspace, they want space, they want it to be comfortable, and they want it to be private. So, and like I say, when you go into the book collection and hours and that sort of stuff, programs, events, similar type information that you can use. It's a really powerful tool. Where do we go now? That's why we're here. I think that the board and staff will probably sit down, take a couple of months, every staff member, every board member, log in, have access to the survey results. What does it mean to them? What do they see? And then go back with the board and the staff, meet again together, and revisit the whole process. In a perfect world, now knowing not just what we think, but what the people that use the library actually think. What does that perfect world vision look like? And then Sears seemed to have been pretty successful over the years with a good, better, best approach. So now that we have a little bit of feedback from the people that use the library, that actually seems to jive pretty well with where we thought we were, which is, you know, as a board member or as a community member, as a taxpayer, is pretty encouraging to see that the people running the place know the people that are using the place. So that's good. But if you have this good, better, best approach, the times come now that we have some positive, or not positive, but factual feedback from the patrons, probably need to get serious about putting some cost to these good, better, best options. Then, once we've done that, let people have a look again. I mean, it's not our library, it's not your library, it belongs to the people of the city. Once you have a couple of ideas for some ways that the future of the library could look, let people have a look at it. You know, we've heard it said before that, you know, free events are great till people realize that somebody has to pay for it, and then maybe it's not such a good idea. But if you have these 3 ideas and you have some money set aside, tagged for what they're going to cost, then people can actually give you their opinion and see where they go. So that's how we see it. If we look back to when we started this process, both on our own as a board, looking at the future, and at the request of the city in terms of historical usage and whatnot, we're smack dab in the middle of the process. We're right on track with what we thought we would do. And at this point, thank you, and comments, questions?
Councillor Pat?
I just want to thank you for coming in, and thanks to you, Jenny. I think back about 20-some years ago when the internet first exploded, there was a really concern in the library community that libraries would become irrelevant with the advent of the online information. But the fact of it is, you have become even more relevant than ever because of the hard work you've done and the programs you've put in place. So I know it's been a lot of hard work, but I certainly appreciate it, and thank you very much.
to that point, it's I don't want to call it a backlash, but as people become more isolated with the ability to do things sitting in a laptop in their easy chair, people are actually looking for a place to get together. And we've been to a couple conferences and listening to futurists talk, and even with people working from home, there's value to sitting down, having a cup of coffee with somebody and talking about whatever the problems you're working on. Lots of times people working from home don't have that option anymore. There's no place to go, no one to talk to. The coffee shops are great, but sometimes it's good to talk to somebody else that has perhaps a similar goal as you, or a similar experience or similar skills, so that when you're bouncing these ideas off, you get some good feedback. And the library, I think, is one of those things where people like that interaction. And yes, the internet's great, just like computers were supposed to cure us from paperwork.
Yeah.
They just made it easier to make more. So that's a very key point, you know. And people, the internet, I don't know, it's bringing people together because they've been pushed away for so long.
Yeah.
They're looking for places to go.
Well, thank you very much. That's an
Thank you.
excellent presentation. Maybe we'll just take a couple of minutes while putting the PowerPoint away, grab coffee, and be right back. And I'm going to invite Nicole Palfrey from the Dawson Creek Daily News, and she's in attendance to do a presentation on the People's Choice Awards. So welcome, Nicole. Come on up to the front. And
Must be People's Choice Award.
Thank you, Sue. It's our annual great time of the year, because we get to tell the community how much the community appreciates everybody. So we have an annual competition, runs from September to October, that people can vote in and for their various different subjects. And then we tally the votes in Fort St. John, and I get to present the awards. So congratulations to everybody, and I will have them out. So the winner for the 2013 People's Choice Awards for Best Office Staff, the City of Dawson Creek. Yay.
Give it to Jim. Jim wants to get it, I think.
Jim would like to come up
Yep,
with
it's Jim. It's Jim.
It's Brenda.
Yeah.
He's still delegating.
And
No picture.
no picture.
Get
back.
back.
Get back up.
Give me something to put on Facebook. Thank you.
And voted the best place for a picnic in Dawson Creek is Kin Park. So
Nice.
they might as well stay here. Okay. And might as well stay. The best place for walking is the city walking track. Okay. The best city employee, Sean Dolan.
All right, Sean.
Congratulations.
Speech.
Thank you.
The best police officer, Constable Micah Sharp.
Best police officer, Terry McFadden. Yeah.
And the best civic leader, our former mayor and current MLA, Mike Brady.
What do I say?
Speech? Oh, yeah, yeah, that's right.
No speech.
No speeches. Go sit down.
Not able to attend, but the best firefighter is Ken Reetzma.
Yeah.
Cindy, short
No, he's not here yet.
There's nobody.
All right.
Brenda.
Oh.
Okay, the mayor can.
We'll switch sides. They don't want. Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is a presentation from Melanie Turcott from the City of Dawson Creek and Tourism Dawson Creek, Joyce Lee of the Village of Pooskoopi in regards to the Candlelight Conservation Dinner Draw. So do we have them here? Yeah, come on up.
They've got a little
You have
PowerPoint version?
PowerPoint? Okay.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to.
Put you down.
Right, you two guys.
Ask Archie.
What's that?
Ask Archie Morrison about that.
Who's Archie Morrison?
Archie Morrison's a large First Nations lab in Hazelton. He tried it once.
Yep.
Got 3 weeks in the hospital.
From you.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Thank you.
He's still walking with a limp.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm kind of hoping this turns into a bit of a love fest, too.
Just remember.
How do I stop? Like, stop it?
I don't know.
It's set up as that way, that's how it's been designed.
Oh, well, then I'll just have to talk fast. We're here to celebrate the Candlelight Conservation Dinner that happened. It seemed like a whole season ago. It was still fall when it happened, October 24th. As most of you know, we did a presentation here to talk about it. We had all of our community restaurants came on board and coupled those with electrical companies that sponsored $100 dinner for twos, and some of our beautiful accommodations in town went together, and we came up with 8 beautiful grand prizes and 5 bonus prizes as well. On the night of the 24th, anybody that went out to dinner was given an entry form, and they were able to put their name in for a chance to win one of these 8 grand prizes. The restaurants themselves all provided a really beautiful ambiance. They lit candles, and we had members of council and some of the community members and special guests from Pooskoopi go out to all these restaurants and participate, greet and meet people that came into the restaurant, and also eat at the restaurants themselves. Melanie ran around like crazy taking pictures of everybody, and unfortunately some of the photographs are missing some key people because she just wasn't able to meet up with everybody. So as you can see from the photographs, we had the meeters and greeters were wearing the Candlelight Conservation t-shirts that we presented and we passed out at council, as well as representatives from the restaurants themselves were also wearing t-shirts. Tourism Dawson Creek is for the 3rd year really happy to be co-promoting this with Sustainable Dawson Creek, and hoping that next year we'll get to do it again. We had more restaurants participating this year than we did last year, and some of the numbers that we have a little graph coming up, that some of the numbers, the restaurants really spiked in the amount of people going out and eating at the restaurants and entering the draw. We had I don't know what the total number is. We've got a big basket we're going to pass around shortly, and Melanie's going to take it around and get the grand prizes drawn today. So that's our celebration piece. We also, Councillor Shaylee Wilbur and I had an opportunity to go on the radio 2 mornings in a week with the Planning for People radio program and do some fun little trivia quizzes, and people called in. That was a lot of fun. So this graph just shows the attendance. We're up this year from last year. This is our 3rd year. And this one just gives you an idea of the numbers of restaurants. This year we're particularly pleased to have included Pooskoopi, and it's really special today because we happen to have a couple of representatives. We have Acting Mayor Colleen Evans from Pooskoopi and Councillor Jonathan Simmons here, and they're going to be saying a few words about what it meant to participate in this, and they're also going to be drawing for the grand prizes that pertained to Pooskoopi. So, come on.
just wanted to say I really enjoyed myself. Jonathan and I went to the Peace Energy Lodge. We had a very nice supper, very good food there. And the place was, it was surprising, the people just kept coming and coming and coming. It was fun, you know, you get to, you standing at the door and they're like, what are you doing there, you know? But, you know, you're greeting everybody and you're saying welcome to Peace Energy Lodge, and, you know, on behalf of Village Council and Dawson Creek Candlelight Conservation Dinner, and it was a very fun evening, and Jonathan and I got to know each other a little bit better, and, you know, and that's always good too. We don't get to spend, you know, in council chambers, you don't actually get to, you know, sit down and visit and actually, you know, have a conversation other than politics and everything. So it was a fun evening, and I think that this is something that, you know, it does bring people out to, especially Pouce Coupe. Some of our restaurants are, you know, not visited as much as Dawson, so it was nice to have that opportunity to be involved in this, and we thank you for that. And yeah, so let's see what we have for winners.
This one will be for Doc Hollis. This one will be that.
So drawing the, so I was dressed up for the candlelight dinner, and they made me put a t-shirt over top. So this time I figured the memo I got was casual Mondays. So okay, so the winner for Doc Colley's draw is Jim McCoo.
Tim McCoo.
Tim McCoo.
And he attended Solis.
And he attended Solis.
That's not right on.
Perfect.
I'll write on there.
And what is this one for?
This one is just going to be for dinner for two, food curry, etc.
Dinner for two. Christina Ward from Dawson Creek.
And she ate out at
Doc Holly's.
Right on.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Melanie's gonna go around, and this next one we're going to draw for is the George Dawson Inn. So it's a one-night stay at the George Dawson and dinner for two at the Pantry. Oh, I get to draw one. Put some bubble gum down here somewhere. Cynthia Stokes from Dawson Creek, so is going to be, and she ate out at Lee's Restaurant, and that's where Mayor Bumstead was meeting and greeting people. The next draw will be for the one-night stay at the Pomeroy Inn and dinner for two at Brown's.
Stuart Berg from Grambridge.
Oh, congratulations, Stuart.
Where did he eat out?
And Stuart ate out at Stewie's Diner, where Shady was. Next will be for one night stay at the Best Western and dinner for two at Fixed Urban Grill.
Caitlin.
McCoo. And Caitlin ate out at Sola's. Now this is going to brighten some people's days. And the next draw is for one night stay at the Comfort Inn and a dinner for two at the White Spot.
Because Anne made an active grader, so we're getting Terry.
I agree.
Terry? Oh. Nice try.
Yep.
And the winner of this is Jody McLean, and she ate out at PD.
I just go left.
P.
So
sorry. Sorry, Doc Holly's, DH, Doc Holly's. No, that can't be. Yes, to ate out Doc Holly's. And the next one is for one night stay at the Days Inn and dinner for two at Mr. Mike's.
The winner of this is Boyd Christensen. Where did he eat? On the backside.
Boyd. Russ is out about you. He's a good guy.
Yep.
He ate out some.
Days Inn. And the next one is for a one night stay at the Super 8 and a dinner for two at Sola's. Right on.
Right on us.
And the next one is, this is the last big grand prize, a one-night stay at the Holiday Inn Express and dinner for two at Chance's.
Don Carlson from Dawson Creek.
Indeed-o.
Pantry. Awesome. And now we have some bonus draws, and they're for dinner for two at, we got 4 other restaurants. So the first one will be dinner for two at the Boston Pizza.
There we go. Audrey Gladue. Where was she going? Does it say where?
Please.
Oh, Lee's Family Restaurant.
And the next one will be a dinner for two at Lee's Family Restaurant.
Shaylee wants to do it.
Shaylee gets to already draw. Shelley? It was for Mayor Bonstead. What's that?
Paula Nordquist.
And the next one will be for dinner for two at Stewie's.
Ray Johnson, and he ate at the lodge.
Hmm?
This is like a.
And the next one is for the Lodge Cafe,
Ray
dinner
Johnson?
for two. And that's the last one.
Rin Knott. And who's that? Lodge? Yeah.
The Lodge. So altogether, that was 13 prizes, grand prizes this year for our Candlelight Conservation Dinner. So that's really, really
Nice.
remarkable. So
Mhm.
it definitely a love fest. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe we're back to councillor business. We're back to the beginning.
Earlier I said I had forgot something, Your Worship, and it's a very important item. I want to congratulate the Saskatchewan Rough Riders for beating up on Calgary yesterday. They'll be hosting the 101st Grey Cup in Regina Sunday next, so take me off the chart for that day. Thank you.
Any other councillor business?
Thanks. I actually just wanted to say I've heard some grumblings about our roads and stuff, and I just want to express patience to people. Our crews are getting out there. They are going to get them plowed, and it's winter, and we're just starting. So relax, slow down, and drive the road conditions. Something else, given that it is going to melt and spring's going to come and we're going to have city cleanup, please do not throw your garbage out of your vehicle. Find a garbage can to put it in, and you know, come spring, it won't be such a big job for our groups to do. So I'd appreciate that. And then on a personal note, I would just like to say hello to our 5th grandchild, Sawyer, 7 pounds, 11 ounces, and we're happy he held on. He almost came during UBCM, so we're glad he waited, but he's here now, and so I have number 5, so I'm proud Nana.
Congratulations.
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 Do I have?
Any other councillor business?
Through you, Madam Chair, I was just going to mention that earlier Councillor Parslow had asked for staff to do some work regarding this phone pole issue. It would be best if there was a motion from council to direct that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Malkinson?
Well, I would enthusiastically move that we drop a policy to capture this practice. Is that appropriate direction?
Certainly.
Okay.
Is that okay, Tyler? Okay. Seconder? Councillor Parslow? Discussion?
Well, I share Councillor Parslow's views. quite enthusiastically. I think that for items that seem rather obvious, that and in situations where it would, you know, the timelines of our regular meeting schedule would hamper from some action being taken that would seem obvious, would be undertaken anyway. I think that it's appropriate for us to have an email poll, but for items of contention, I would like us see them discussed in a council meeting. And I'm not certain whether that's compliant with the community charter or not, but hopefully we can work through those difficulties.
We can get you information on all of that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Councillor Parslow.
Further to that, you know, just as I said to you privately, after hearing a little more about this from some of the, workers, if I can use that expression, I would have changed my vote. And so, supposing there were two other councillors, you know, to me, who had my confusion, a good project might have been defeated. So all I'm saying is if there's unanimity, let's go ahead. If not, let's make the effort to hear each other and then decide.
And I'm not aware of Councillor Parslow's information or whatever, so this is all good.
Okay, so can I call the question then? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried, for real. Okay, the next item, we're into correspondence. We have 5.1,
We have to approve the
Oh,
minutes.
we gotta go back to the very beginning.
Yeah, we have
I'm just ready to move on forward. Okay, 3.1, minutes of the regular meeting of council for November 4th, 2013 for adoption. Moved by Councillor Malcolmson, second by Councillor McFadden. All in favor? Opposed? Oh, just, did we have any discussion or anything?
No,
referring
no
to-
business.
Okay, thank you. Okay, carried then. Now we'll move on to the memo. Pardon me? So 5.1 memo for, from the Director of Corporate Administration regarding free busing request for Idle Less Week, November 23rd to 29th, 2013. Moved by Councillor Powerslow.
Yeah, I'll read move that the request approved by email on November the 12th, 2013 to provide free busing for the week of November the 23rd to 29th, supporting Idle Less Week in Dawson Creek from November the 23rd to 29th, 2013 be ratified.
I'll second that motion.
I believe Councillor Schumann seconded that.
Okay.
Discussion? Councillor Malcolmson?
Madam Chair, I'd certainly like to have the background that I understand Councillor Parslow has been provided with and afterwards was convinced of.
Oh, just the presentation you received from people this morning.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Move on to 5.2, a letter from Sandra Rosebone Grindle LLP, November 8th, 2013 regarding the audit.
I move that we receive for information.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor McFadden, discussion? Councillor Malcolmson?
There's one question, Madam Chair, that I had hoped to ask of our Chief Financial Officer. I was hoping that she could perhaps give me a better background than I was able to gather from the paper. It's just something I don't understand. The sentence towards the end of the letter that says we plan to use materiality of $400,000. The materiality for last year's audit was $375,000. Does that mean special attention or more in-depth care is going to be put into items that are over $400,000? And what qualifies as an item?
Through your worship, basically what the materiality amount is a number that the auditor picks, that if there is any variance in the financial statements over and above that, you would have to basically make transaction to change it, or they would issue a qualified report.
Mm.
But you have to understand that the financial statements are the management responsibility of the finance department, so we're adjusting many amounts under that materiality factor.
Yeah, gotcha. But these, this $400,000 materiality is what will be brought to council's attention? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. The auditor goes through a number of procedures and processes and audit steps to do their audit, and they have the discussion with staff on minor issues and major issues, and the actual items that they report are done separate from the materiality.
Mm. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, 5.3, a letter from Rhett Peterson, November 13th, 2013, regarding horse and sleigh Christmas caroling route. Councillor Malkinson.
I move that we, upon assuming that all of this is licit and compliant with current council direction, I agree in principle to the proposed route and event in general.
Seconder?
I'll second it.
Councillor Wilbur. Discussion? Councillor McFadden?
No, I was going to second it, but I don't see my street on the route, so I know Rhett. He's a fireman across the alley, so I'll talk to him.
Councillor Farslow.
This is a question through you to staff. I mean, agreement in principle does not give final authorization, so you concur with my opinion?
Through you, Madam Chair, there is a policy in place, council put in place, which allows staff to okay these kind of items when insurance is in place, etc. But nothing in the policy allows a horse within the community. That's the piece that needs council's approval. So if you don't approve that, we can't approve the route under the policy.
Add a horse to your motion.
That's a very, very friendly amendment, Charlie.
Does it have to be amended because it is in the body of the request?
I would suggest if you're approving this in principle, you're approving the horse subject to the insurance.
That's right. It's all there.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
What a good idea.
Okay, 5.4, letter from Mike Reedman, Vice Principal of Dawson Creek Secondary. Request to host Dawson Creek Secondary School 2014 graduation at the Encana Events Center. Councillor McFadden.
So moved, Your Worship.
Second by Councillor Schumann. Discussion? Councillor McFadden or Malkinson?
I believe that in the letter, the Vice Principal of DC Secondary is asking for a long-term agreement to host this event, and I believe that that's been not the case in the past for a couple of reasons. I was wondering what those reasons are and whether the situation has changed this year to accommodate this request.
Through you, Madam Chair, the request has consistently been for some kind of a long-term arrangement. Council's turned it down in the past because council has, under the contract with Global Spectrum, has 2 events per year that can be provided for expense, but not with no rent applied. And council has been reserving to itself the opportunity every year to look at what else might be on your plate, for instance, an energy conference. So that's been the circumstance. In terms of the school district's planning, or particularly the graduating parents groups planning, it's become problematic because this has become such a huge event. This is nothing like the graduations of my youth. The events at the Encana Event Center, including the procession with every vehicle known to man, require a great deal of lead time to organize and would be virtually impossible now to host at, say, the Memorial Arena. And so I can understand why there is a request in front of you for a longer-term deal. Administration has no reason to recommend against that because we see nothing on the horizon in the next, certainly 3 years, but I would be difficult if you went out farther than 3 years because there is the possibility that that center will be booked for some other worthy public event that you wish to have rent-free.
Any further comments?
Cool. That's good. I appreciate what our administrator said.
Do we need a motion? I'm just wondering then, do we need a motion to move forward with that?
No, we've got it with Terry and Cheryl have moved that we.
Your motion
agreed to
now is
that.
for 1 year.
For 1 year.
For
Is that
1
right?
year.
Oh, I
Yes.
apologize.
Councillor Malcolmson.
I'd like to move that we amend the motion to direct staff to enter into a long-term agreement to host the event, so not to place the school in a position of moving out of the Encana facility back to the Memorial Arena.
Councillor Wilbur, second.
Yes, but I'm just wondering if it should say 3 years as recommended by staff, so we're not, that it be a 3-year term.
3 year? Okay. Councillor.
So question through you to staff. So what happens if there's like, some super-duper show that's coming to town and we'll be using the center on those dates? Will they just work around that, or, I mean, because we have no way of predicting what acts or type of things will be coming 3 years down the road. So I'm just curious to know, should, we get a great opportunity for a certain concert in town, how that would work out.
Through you, Madam Chair, folks who have arrangements with us, all of the contracts say that the event can be bumped if another revenue-generating event comes forward. On the rare occasions we've had these issues, we've always found a way of working through it so we could move the event to a date that was acceptable to them. When the tours come in, you can't negotiate the date with them. You get the date you get. So this is a standard thing. It was in, for instance, the Rage contract. It was in every contract senior hockey signed to go have Wednesday evenings. It's just a standard clause, and it's in the current deal with the school district. It would be in a 3-year deal as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so do we have to vote on the first motion, defeat it, and then?
The amendment and then the motion? We've got an amendment on the floor right now?
Okay. Okay, so we can just we can amend it from 1 year to 3 year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was captured
That's
already.
what we're doing. The motion is to amend it and
Yeah.
and they would have a 3-year contract other than the 1 year. Okay. Councillor Parslow.
Just a technical question, I guess. It's I forget the terminology now, but is this a rolling 3 years? By that I mean, we have a 3-year deal now, and next year it becomes you add a year on, so you've always got a 3-year window so that parents and grandparents and relatives have some certainty.
Through you, Madam Chair, it would not be, it would expire on the 3rd year. There would be an opportunity built into the contract for the holder, which would be the parent groups, I think, to apply prior to expiry for an extension, but there'd be no obligation on council to grant the extension.
So maybe, I don't think this affects the motion, but maybe such negotiations should happen maybe a year before the end.
That's generally what the clauses say.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Madam Chair, on the motion as amended as well, or?
Yeah, that was the amendment
That
passed,
was,
yeah.
so now the main motion has to come back as amended.
Yeah. So just vote one more time.
Okay, so call the question.
Okay.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, 5.5, a letter from AC Global Systems regarding the GIS software systems.
Move that it be received for information.
Okay, thank you. Seconder? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Wilberson. Okay, we're on to reports. Report 7.1, or number 7.1, report number 13266 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the consolidated budget variance report. Councillor Malcolmson, seconded.
Yes, yeah. I move that we receive the consolidated budget variance report for information.
Have a second. Councillor Parslow, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 7.2, report number 13264 from the Deputy Director of Community Services regarding O'Brien lease renewal. Councillor Wilbur.
I'll make the motion that report number 13-264 from the Deputy Director of Community Services regarding the O'Brien lease renewal be received. Further, that staff be directed to submit a formal letter to the School District 59 Board requesting renewal of the O'Brien Gymnasium and Classroom. And further, if the request is approved by the Board, that staff be directed to prepare a report outlining the terms and conditions of the proposed lease agreement for Council's approval.
Seconder, Councillor Parslow. Discussion? Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, this has been a huge success. The seniors group, if I can refer to them, that I forget what they call themselves now. It's been so popular, and so because the rooms are so easily accessed that they've now used they meet twice a week now as opposed to one, and it's really that group seems to be thriving and taking courses now and so on. So I'm told it's because of the ease of access, and they have quite a bit of ownership of that place now. So it's been very successful.
Okay, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bylaws.
Oh.
Whoops. Now what did I forget?
Curbside recycling.
Recycling. Okay, report number 13267 from Energy Manager, curbside recycling, public consultation results, and program recommendations. Councillor Schumann.
So I'd like to move the report number 13-267 from the Energy Manager regarding our curbside recycling public consultation results and program recommendations be received. Further, that staff be directed to accept the MMBC funding and that the implementation of a curbside recycling program be improved.
Seconder.
I'll second it for discussion.
Councillor Wilbur. Discussion?
Madam Chair, there's I think share the good vision, I suppose, that we're gathered here to consider, and that the province has considered around having curbside recycling across the province. I think that the intentions and the principles of the matter are compliant with our vision and our guiding principles as well. I do think that that this kind of a setup is a responsible, adequate, and appropriate way to go. But there are a number of uncertainties, particularly with the contract that has been, the proposal that has been presented to municipalities by MMBC, that in the interim time since Council has first considered this, that have led me to not think that this agreement as presented is in the best interests of the citizens of Dawson Creek. I suppose I'll get into depth a little bit. I believe that the whole vision for this program that has been agreed in principle to by the province of having the industry pay for the recycling of packaged papers. This whole vision is sort of being lost in the process when we are being asked to contribute to the implementation of a program that picks up and has those recyclables taken care of. You know, I'm not certain that the city's involvement and investment into a project like that is totally compliant with the original intentions of the program. I also think that there are a number of unknowns currently about the financial implications, like the educational administrative costs. You know, they were, I think staff very adequately outlined them in the report. I also think that there are a number of other uncertainties as well that, well, I suppose one example that resonates strongly with me, and I'm certain resonates with Councillor McFadden as well, about where exactly the sorting for this program will happen. There's just uncertainty there, and although I did believe when Council first considered this that it would be best for us to be on that train to affect or, you know, steer the ship, you know, influence the program as it goes forward, rather than, oh, I'm losing it here. To influence the path as it goes ahead, rather than just having a program administered to us. I'm not certain that that's the same environment that exists now. So those are some uncertainties that I have with the proposal that we have here. We've got many municipalities across the province that don't believe that it's within their citizens' interests, and I'm pondering those same questions right now. So perhaps we're some sort of response able to be mounted. I would consider voting otherwise, but I, as it stands, am opposed to this proposal that's presented.
Okay. Any other comments? Councillor McFadden.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've read the Environmental Management Act and the regulations that surround recycling, and the Act clearly states that the responsibility is that of the manufacturer. So when you buy a quart of milk in a plastic jug, somewhere in that price there's a little fee that ends up going back to the manufacturer, as I understand it, and it's their responsibility to do curbside recycling. I did read the report regarding the public consultation, all 34 pages of it, line by line, and there was a thread through there that the folks would like to have curbside recycling, but they wanted a price attached to it. And the folks that were there from the waste management company could not answer that. In fact, they were asking people how much the taxpayer, would be prepared to pay in addition to what they're already paying, when in fact it's their responsibility. If we do nothing on this, they will come and do it anyway, and they'll pay for it, as they should. So I don't think I can support this in its current form.
Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I've stewed on this one as well. First of all, we as a community are pretty well up there in the leads, I think, as it relates to what we currently do for recycling. But that doesn't mean to say we can't be better at it, and I'm not speaking at all against curbside recycling. I too have read the regulations, and I believe that the regulations are not being followed. It isn't the requirement to pick up some of the containers or some types of containers, it's all. And my gut is telling me that the province is downloading something that will have cost implications down the road, that the $100 and whatever thousand dollars is just a part payment of what it's actually going to cost. And I think this should be turned back to for the province to enforce the regulations fully, and that we take a very cautious view of this, because I was hoping that if we had a recycling program through this agreement with the province, with MMBC, that we might have a opportunity of saving some money. By that I mean that we would have the recycling material picked up every second week, the remaining material, non-recyclable, not covered by the regulations, would be picked up every other week, thereby reducing landfill transportation, and that we might have a saving here. But what I see, and my gut is telling me, no, this is going to be one of those things that council is assuming that has, it's one of those things that I've heard staff use before, is one of those gifts that cost in the end. And so I very reluctantly have to vote against the recommendation.
Councillor Schumann?
So I'll be voting in favor of this. It appears to me that staff will be coming forward in the future with the pricing options with regards to, you know, if we decide to do it once every week or every 2 weeks. And I remember a presentation from Waste Management, and they were basically telling us that, you know, if we went to every other week for recycling and garbage, that it would come in pretty close to even. My concerns with not accepting the MMBC funding and not moving ahead with our own designed recycling program is that they will come in, they are the ones that then choose what kind of canisters will be at the roads. We won't have any say in that, and they will be implementing the recycling program as per their mandate, and not necessarily considering what is important to the residents of Dawson Creek. And it is very clear by the survey and the comments back from everyone that, you know, the people in this city, other than a couple of very vocal ones, I'm sure they've all had their calls into you, are very interested in a curbside recycling program. And I would worry that, as well-meaning as MMBC is about coming up here and finding a contractor to do this for us, they may not. So in the end, we don't accept this, we don't move ahead with our own, and then we don't end up with curbside recycling because they can't find someone to take on the contract in Dawson Creek. So, of course, I'll be voting in favor of this. This was a council strategic priority that you all participated in, and yeah, I mean, along come MMBC and said, I mean, we were all prepared to go forward and look at this without $100 and some thousand from MMBC. So I'm not quite sure where all of a sudden, you know, the extra money is now a detriment to the whole process. So, you know, I think you guys vote this down. I think it's a shame. And I think that the citizens will be disappointed.
Councillor Wilbur?
I think we all agree that curbside recycling would be a benefit to the community, but there are a lot of questions here, and some of it is the original presentation. There wasn't costs associated that we knew of then to the consumer. The other thing that the community is coming out, to me anyways, in folds, and not just a few, is that they do recycle. So now they put it out at the curb, but they don't take everything. So they still have to go down to the recycling depot to take the rest. So why should they pay the gas and the fuel to go to the depot to recycle, and then pay at the curbside to have part of it picked up. There's plenty of programs out there that work. Nanaimo's one of them. They have an excellent recycle program. They even pick up compost. Now, I'm not saying that we have to do that, but there are programs out there that have been running for many, many years, and they work, and they're feasible. And I think that we need to step back and look at that. The onus is on MBC to pick it up. They are paid by the manufacturers to do that. That's part of their program. So that cost should not be downloaded on to our residents. They pay when they buy that product at the grocery store, at the retail stores. So I will be voting against this. This is not originally what we looked at. This is not originally what we thought we would be moving forward with. And I just see too many loopholes. I'm also concerned that we go ahead with this and now we are not going to have, and staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not going to have those bins around town. So how does that affect those that are not within the city boundaries that are utilizing those bins? So there's a greater wave here that ripples out from our community, and it causes me enough concern listening to our residents that have come forward that I think curbside recycling is great. I think we should have some sort of program. I do not think this is the one.
Councillor Schumann.
So with regards to the citizens from outside of our area, the regional district will be providing the recycling services for area residents. As far as Nanaimo's fabulous program, the citizens would have paid for that, not someone else. So I'm not quite sure what you're getting at there, because the citizens would have paid for that in their utility bills, just like they paid for garbage pickup. It's not something that's free for them, and
I'm not expressing that it's free. My point is they pick up everything. It's a complete recycle program. It's not half of it left at your doorstep and you are responsible for taking it to the depot. They pick up everything. And there are plenty of programs out there like that work. And I think if that was presented to the citizens, we would see a different response. That was my point.
Councillor Schumann.
And my point is, when we bring in a program like that, the citizens are going to pay. We say no to this, and, we have no say in the matter now. We have no say in the matter. MMBC is going to come along and put in whatever curbside, and we don't get to work out the details with them now.
Councillor Malkinson.
Madam Chair, I'm not certain that, it's rather a matter of confidence and not certainty that that will be the atmosphere around the province. There are many municipalities that have indicated that haven't accepted this incentive offer from MMBC in principle, and I believe that the Premier herself has explained her dissatisfaction with the rollout of this program. So I don't think that it is a done deal in any regard, and I think that there'll be more dialogue to have on this issue in the future. But seeing as I'm speaking, I think that as I was thinking of a solution to this, as I was thinking of the best action that I believed council ought to take over the weekend, I didn't think that a vote against or just a simple no to this question would be appropriate. Rather, I thought that a identification of the environment that we would potentially accept, a offer from something to work with would be appropriate. So I'm not certain whether there'll be any appetite for this, but I was considering proposing an amendment, that might be contrary. As I'm reading it out here, I'm just trying to scroll down to the original. Oh, forgive me here. I apologize. So, after the original recommendation, I would love it if the recommendation be approved by council once the generally accepted principles of having the manufacturers be responsible for the recycling of the materials that they produce are assured, and once the financial implications are more widely known. So that would be after the recommendation. That's,
Is that a motion?
yes, it is. I'm sorry.
What is
So
the
we
motion?
have to vote on the first one.
Okay, so we have to vote on the first one?
Well, no, well,
Or we're just amending the recommendation?
yeah, it's on whether or not you deem it contrary to the original intent, but I think it would be something that we could work from, and I think that it would be not a simple no or a shooting down of a good idea.
So what was your
Through you,
amendment?
Madam Chair,
Excuse me.
I need a yes or a no, because
Yes.
we're either entering this contract or we're not.
Yes.
I take it from the will of the group, we are not. So just defeat the motion,
Mhm.
we won't enter this, and the chips will fall where they fall. Staff is not in a position to negotiate with the Premier over changing the environmental legislation. That's, if Council wishes to take on an advocacy role for some future reality, please fill your boots doing that, but staff can't proceed on the basis that we're going back to MMDC and asking them to change the non-negotiable offer that's in front of us. We just need to go back and say no.
Okay, Councillor Parslow?
I would like the original motion to be placed before council for voting.
Nobody seconded mine, so it already is.
All right,
Question?
so, on the original recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed? Defeated. Okay, moving on. 8.1. Temporary board bylaw number 4167, 2013.
I'd like to move that the bylaw be adopted.
Councillor Parslow. Second by Councillor Wilbur. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 8.1, temporary boring bylaw number 4169, capital roadworks for consideration of adoption. Councillor Wilbur.
Thank you.
Seconded by Councillor Parslow. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 8.3, report number 13260 from Director of Corporate Administration regarding property maintenance bylaw number 4190, 2013. Councillor
That's the
Parslow?
move, yeah.
Councillor McFadden? Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 8.4, report number 13261 from the Director of Infrastructure and Sustainability Development, zoning amendment bylaw number 4181, 1524, 1528, 1532, 1536, and 1540, Loran Drive, Sundance Canyon Estates.
Through you, Madam Chair, in answer to Councillor McFadden's question at the public hearing, the lots in question are all 96 feet deep. 4 of the 5 lots are 72 feet wide, and the 5th is 100 feet wide.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Councillor Malkinson, seconded by, we haven't.
Yeah, sure.
Or,
Sure.
Councillor Parslow, discussion?
I would, sorry if I interjected without permission, sorry.
Pardon me?
Can I speak?
I think
Yeah, okay,
Councillor
yeah.
Malkinson's.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, no, I was
We've done that, yeah, sorry.
I was just going to get into some of the issues that Ms. Lipke rightfully brought up regarding her neighborhood that I'm trying to balance against the relevance to the development that's not relevance, I'm sorry, but the question of the development, such as the parking and the density, the snow storage and the access. I forgive me here, as I look at this, I'm trying to learn what sort of parking will be provided. I know that we had this presented to us by the actual by an actual proponent recently. But am I correct to ask? Am I correct when I say that the parking is all going to be in the back?
I can kick that over to Kevin. Madam
Through
Chair.
you, Chair. The original proposal had parking up front, but staff review didn't allow much room for other utilities, snow storage and whatnot, so further subsequent proposal was yes, to move the parking to the rear, and that therefore not having all those parking stalls up front.
Councillor McFadden.
I don't think I'll be supporting this, Your Worship. This city and the council of the day some time ago went to great expense and labor and work to build a community, an OCP, and then it seems that every meeting we have, we amend that community plan. We seem to be enthralled with densification, 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 because we apparently don't want to ghettoize the city. Well, what we're doing is the entire city is becoming a ghetto because of all this stuff that's happening. So I think it's time to back off from this densification business.
Councillor Parslow.
Well, I hate to say anything against what was said by a previous council member, but you don't really mean the whole city's a ghetto. I mean, I know you don't. But there are certainly parts of it that are problematic for sure, but that's true of every community. I was wanting to see if staff had any further comments in response to Marquita's presentation to council. You know, we have staff do a very good job in looking at all these matters, and but did they hear anything that caused them to have second thoughts about the recommendation? I would like to hear that, if they do.
Through you, Madam Chair. Firstly, this proposal is compliant with the official community plan, and the official community plan calls for more densification, and so it's the reverse of the situation suggested by Councillor McFadden. We're actually, this proposal is in keeping with the community's vision, and there were technical issues that have been addressed by the parking and traffic study, and so staff has no reason to recommend it. It represents the will of council as so far expressed by council. Council can change the OCP in an involved public process. And at the end of that time, council might move away from their current positions on density and appropriate residential mixes, but for the moment, this is compliant.
Councillor Wilbur.
I just want to say that looking at this and listening to Marquita, there is a lot of traffic up there, and I can imagine plowing those streets gets a little condensed. But there, besides the apartment facilities that are up there, there are many duplexes that are up there, and I don't see this any different, Councillor McFadden, than the duplexes. The design may be different, but there's still two families living basically under one roof. So I'll be voting in favor. I think it works with the area. And there is flow there, and they've accommodated the parking at the back, which will alleviate what's on the road. So,
Can I call the question? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we move on to bylaws 8.5, report number 13265 from the Director of Corporate Administration regarding land sale bylaw on 1201 10th Street, Chamber of Commerce. Councillor McFadden, moved by Councillor McFadden, seconded by Councillor Parslow. Discussion.
I think it should be read out so those who watch it on web.
So my motion is that report number I made the motion, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So my motion is that report number 13265 from the Director of Corporate Administration regarding land sale bylaw 10201 10th Street, Chamber of Commerce, be received. Further, that land sale bylaw 10201 10th Street, number 4196, 2013, be given first 3 readings.
Okay, so we already have our first and second here, so discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Mayor's business. Mayor is not well today, that's why I'm here.
Doing a fine job too, I might say.
Thank you very much. So, moving off of mayor business, Jim, is there anything in the diary?
Nothing new on the diary, Madam Chair. You will be considering a Calvin Crook Center item in your closed, and the recommendation there is that your decision be immediately released to the public.
Okay then. So, consent calendar. Items from the consent calendar.
Move that
Councillor
they be
Parslow.
approved.
Moved by Councillor Parslow, seconded by Councillor Schumann. Councillor McFadden.
I'm in favor.
Oh, we're already there, are we?
I
No
think so.
discussion, okay.
Well, I thought we were, so-
All in favor?
There.
Opposed? Carried. Strategic priorities chart?
Nothing new on the chart, Madam Chair.
Okay. Question and answer period?
No one has signed
No
up.
one signed up? Media question period?
I was just curious if MMBC gave you a deadline, if when you have to say yes or no.
I'll move that, I'll let Jim respond to that.
Actually, through you, Madam Chair, there's been several deadlines. You responded positively to the first deadline. That deadline was seen to have been too onerous. Many municipalities made that point to MMBC. So they have had a more fluid deadline, and they have included an opportunity to opt out within 180 days of your date of acceptance. So either they will accept our new information, which is that we're not accepting the incentive, or we'll give them 180 days notice, and it will all come up before the service was to start anyway. So one way or another, we're compliant with their deadlines.
Okay, and actually this is just a question that's directed to Terry McFadden, but if any other councillor wishes to speak on it, obviously they're free to do so. But I guess when the motion first came up, I guess one of the things that you guys sort of put you guys in more of a mood to sort of begin putting the notice of intent to accept the funding from MMBC was the fact that you felt like this could help you guys direct more business towards the, I shouldn't say more business, but it would help you sort of maybe help out the local recycling depot here in town, so that they could maybe be possibly influenced to become more of a sorter, as opposed to maybe some other sorter way further down the line. I apologize for getting you guys incorrectly there, but I'm just wondering, I guess, Terry, I'm just wondering if maybe in your decision to not move forward with this decision, is there, can you tell me how that a factor may have influenced your current decision to vote the way you did today then, or?
No, the fact that MMBC or their contractor may or may not use DC recycling has nothing to do with our contract. If we signed a contract, they may or they may not use them, and if we don't, they may or may not use them. So it's as far as where I'm concerned, it doesn't enter into the picture.
Okay, because so far, the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is that if you would have moved forward with this current proposal, you wouldn't have had influence to say, okay, you guys should use blah instead of whatever.
That's my understanding, yes, yeah.
Okay.
We would have no say in that either way.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's fine, unless anybody else has anything there. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so we're moving on to the committee of the whole. Should we take a short break until everybody's
Absolutely.
here?
Yes, we should.
Yes, ma'am.
Move on to our committee of the whole reports. We have a report from our staff sergeant.
Our staff sergeant is
Staff
coming
sergeant
forward
coming
without
forward?
a short story or a poem or
His delegation still.
No, I actually have a great short story this morning, so maybe I'll start with that if you guys have the time.
I'm sorry I mentioned it, but yeah.
Hello, everyone. So we had a very interesting file. I thought I was late, but you guys weren't here either. So, it was a terrific file that we had last night. In terms of the resolution, we had a shooting that took place in the rural area last night, and our members attended that. And indications are that it's an accidental shooting, but the person that discharged the firearm left on foot in a t-shirt and -20. And so he was tracked on foot by our members, who tracked him to a farm where they saw a patch of snow where once had parked a large 8-wheel farm tractor, and now there was just a patch of bare earth. So the farm tractor was en route. The members then switched into vehicle tracking mode, and they tracked the farm tractor all the way to Fort St. John, where it was parked in front of a residence in Fort St. John. And the suspect turned himself in at the point where, so Fort St. John detachment gave us tremendous cooperation in terms of setting up containment and a perimeter and that type of thing. And he's in custody. We recovered the firearm. The police dog service did an incredible job recovering this firearm, which had been discarded into the ditch. So this guy is currently in our cells, and we have the gun, and we're examining the scene, but the indications are that it was an accidental thing. So at any rate, good story. That was my excuse for being late, but as it turns out, I didn't need it in that capacity. So there's obviously, whenever we have something like this, there's lots of documentation and correspondence with my superiors in Prince George and so on. So I had quite a lot of that type of stuff to deal with this morning. But yeah, and I wasn't actually the author of the committee of the whole report this time, so there's no literary note in it at all. But
and we thank Scott for that.
Yes, so I told Scott he was probably doing you a favor. But we're one of the things. There's a few things in here, but really, I think that the main thing is that we're really still seeing, a reasonably significant decrease in many of our criminal code offenses, and so we're attributing that to the fact that that a large number of the people who are typically responsible for those types of offenses are currently in custody. So that's a nice development, and that seems to be a continuing trend. Of course, eventually, as with every trend, those people will eventually be out of custody, and so our work will be cut out for them in terms of monitoring and regulating their behavior when they do get out to be able to hopefully be able to keep this this pleasing trend. So, the other thing, I guess, is our bait car. We've been deploying a bait car here lately, on and off, for the last little while. This has been one of the techniques that we've been using to kind of try to mitigate the vehicle theft problem. Is to have a bait car, or truck or whatever type of vehicle it is that we choose. But the vehicle is parked in the community with a view to it becoming the victim of a criminal offense. Of course, it's a technique that we use to identify and prosecute people that are involved in that kind of activity, and it's been quite successful. We've got a number of activations, identification of the suspects, and those people are also facing charges right now. So that's been a successful initiative as well, and it's one of the best ways that we know of to keep the sort of nuisance criminals at bay in the community. So that's more or less where we're at. One other thing I guess I should mention is that for a brief period of time our municipal traffic position was vacant, but we actually have got Constable Ambi Verbruggen in that position now, and she is doing that job full time now. So good. That's the update.
Thank you. Any questions?
Through you, Madam Chair, maybe we can just emphasize out of the report that the behaviors of the Mayor of Toronto notwithstanding, in Dawson Creek it's a crime to drink and drive. Yes. And the detachment's going to be concentrating on that over the Christmas season. So, we strongly encourage people to use the Safe Ride Home program or find other means of having sober drivers.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. And in fact, we've got a few members that are really taking it upon themselves to focus on impaired driving initiatives. Should have mentioned that anyway. There was, it's a while ago now, a very little girl that was killed by a drunk driver. Her name was Alexa, and so her parents have organized a foundation called Alexa's Team, and what it is it's a foundation that recognizes exceptional performance in the area of impaired driving enforcement. And this year we had 8 of our members that were recognized for inclusion on Alexa's Team as a result of the extraordinary amount of impaired driving enforcement they did. We've got one guy who has just barely a year's service, and he has already taken 28 impaired drivers off the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite impressive.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
Thanks.
That's,
okay.
glad you brought that up.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
A report from our fire chief.
Morning all. And those wonder years. I wonder where I left my glasses. I wonder where I parked my car. So you have the report in front of you. Nothing unusual. Nothing pops on at me anyways. Do you have any questions? It's interesting to note that last month we had 27 calls total. And I think so far this month we're up to 22. So the numbers are rising.
Is that due to accidents or?
Car accidents is a big portion of it, yes.
Yeah.
And faulty alarms.
And
Faulty
false alarms
alarms.
continue to be. We looked at that one. We tried to figure out how, but there's so many factors. I mean, we're still building buildings, and people are adding alarms. So, we may have our numbers for false alarms might be going up, but so is our number of commercial buildings going up. So that adds to the issues. So it's a tough one to figure out. That's for sure.
Councillor Malkinson?
Good morning, Chief. I recently had the opportunity to take a tour of your training ground that is being constructed out by the airport, and I just wanted to thank yourself and your deputy for the opportunity there, and I suppose to say to council that there's some great work being done out at the airport to train our members, and there's also opportunity there to train members from neighboring communities there. So I guess just a congratulations to yourself and the awareness for the other members.
And that comes from support from everybody in this room, I guess.
Great, thanks. Any more questions for our fire chief? Councillor Wilbur?
I just know that you guys were out touring the schools and stuff, so I'm just wondering who is our little fire chief of the day in the last
Oh my
one?
goodness, I don't have her name with me. I guess I should have brought that, but very interesting. She was a very persuasive young lady, very bossy young lady. She gets out of the, she was 6 years old. She gets onto the fire truck, and so typically what we do is, we name her fire chief for the day. What would you like us to do? And she looked at one of our young firefighters and just says, "Go clean something." And so he did. And her mom says, "Well, we're trying to teach you not to be so bossy." So it was kind of the highlight of the day, because she certainly kept us on our toes for that afternoon.
That's good.
So she truly fulfilled her chief role. She
She did.
That's
Perfect.
good. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Shorty. Report from the Director of Corporate Administration.
Good morning. I'll just comment a bit on our communication plan. That's the next step that we're taking, is to get council's input through a short survey. Those responses will be combined with the survey responses already received from staff, and as well as the inventory of our current communication efforts. We'll then continue to work with NDIT, focus on those areas that were identified, and make those changes as necessary. And changes already have been discussed, and in regards to the city's webpage, we're going to have a council highlights post added to the news page after every council meeting. And anytime the new information is updated on the web page, city staff will be getting an email, just a notification, so they're all kept up to date on other departments' activities. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is we have a vacancy on the Mauser Park Society board as well as the library board, and we have ads out for that, and the deadline is this Friday. So if any of council has any suggestions, you can just let me know by then. That's all I had, unless there's any questions.
I have a question.
Councillor Schumann.
Are we having a Christmas party this year? Did I miss the memo? Was there?
There is a Christmas party this year. It was, I think there was a little sticky on everybody's pay stubs, and I think, Tyra, do you know the date?
14th.
The 14th. At the curling rink.
Okay, any questions for Randy?
Well, sorry.
Well, I just wanted to verify it was a position open on Mauser Post Society and the library board?
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor Parslow?
Yes, thank you. Our director, in talking about communication, and I was reflecting and sharing with our CAO after the recycling public gathering at Encana Event Centre, that as we think about our work as it relates to engagement of the community, education of the community, relating to the fiscal gap, we've got to really put our heads together around reaching out and connecting with people of all ages. It seems to me that these public consultations, all the work that goes into the budget consultation, we tend to have the same people. And I'm glad they come. But there are a lot of other people who are affected by what council does, and somehow we've got to think about engaging them, because one of the things that our Chief Financial Officer and our CAO have stated quite clearly, what the literature says around the fiscal gap, that and we've already approved that we've got to engage the community, and I'm just flummoxed when you think of some of these important initiatives, whether it was the water, shore water, which the city got good feedback from the point of view of how that was done. But again, if you're really going to move forward on some things that have profound effects on the direction of the city and what we do and don't do, we've got to get all those people who are enjoying living here, I'm sure, but they have to be engaged, and I just don't know how we can do that. Certainly the public forums only draw a certain number of people who we can, any public forum, we can guess that 70% of the people there will be the people who always come out. And that's good in many ways, but it's not good in other ways. So I
guess we'll just have to continue to work towards that one, eh?
Yes.
Councillor Malkinson?
I've thought about that, quite regularly for the last 2 years. It's the more people we involve in our decision-making processes and whatever we do, the more legitimate our actions become. I have thought about sort of the changing methods to grip people, the changing ways to involve people. And I really do think that there is a shift in this, in the 21st century that we're seeing from, well, it's just it's almost a cultural shift, you could describe it, and just how people receive news, how people gather socially, and the importance of social and community groups in in getting messages out there. It seems like personal connections, and this is my own personal belief, but it seems like personal connections are the most viable way of getting people out to events or making people aware of initiatives. Frequently, the most common response to the question of how did you hear about this? You know, it was at a public event, or when you hear about, when somebody asks me about something that they've heard the council is doing, they'll say, oh, a friend told me, or oh, somebody else told me. So that personal approach is something that I feel very strongly about, and that's why I believe so strongly in the community events that we held this summer, the consultation up on the 90th Ave there, and the planning, the barbecue event that many members of the neighborhood were able to attend and brainstorm certain ideas for the future of their park there. I think it's all interconnected, and I think that the communications plan and the direction that we're heading in, like, staff ought to be applauded for the direction that they're heading in. I think that it's that they're responding to the changing attitudes and the shifts in people, but we need to continue to work towards that.
Yeah, we sure do. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we do. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I might have went off on a tangent there, but thank you.
Okay. Any other any questions for Brenda? Okay, then we'll move on to the report from the Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning. I think most of what's in our report has already been reported on.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, but just one thing, the Calvin Crook Art Center has the amount spent to date to October 31st. We report that out every Committee of the Whole report. And there's a couple of items from previous strategic priorities that are just going to be put on hold. Staff is just starting to work through the budget, so that's going to take all of our time over the next few months. So that's pretty much it from finance.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Shelley? All right then, report from the Director of Infrastructure and Sustainable Development.
Good morning. I guess first I'll just touch a little bit on our wintry weather out there. What's happening? So probably noticed that we did have crews out on the weekend, grading snow and sanding, and that continues. We've got pretty much all the equipment we have out working, and we'll continue to do so. We will take a look at the downtown today and tomorrow and see if anything needs to be done. We'll definitely, at the very least, prior to the Christmas tree light up, do some cleaning in a block of each direction of the tree. We've done that in the past, so if the entire downtown doesn't warrant a cleanup, we'll at least get that area for the light up for Friday night. Couple other things to touch on is always the good news story is the building permits. We for the end of October, we sit at just over $50 million worth of value, which is significantly ahead of 2012, where we had 33 million. So that's a great news story. So we've seen significant investment over the last few years, and no sign of that slowing down. A couple other things I wanted to touch on is one, the BC Hydro has approved a study of our water and sewer systems. Matt, our energy manager, has been working on this for just about a year with Hydro to get their approvals. And what they have agreed to is to pay at least 75% of the study to look at all the electrical components on our water and sewer, which is significant. And there's definitely some great opportunities there. So the study in its entirety costs is estimated just over $50,000. So worst case scenario, the city would be looking to pay 25% of that. I think around $15,000, just shy of that. But if there's any opportunities identified and any action taken on that, then I believe BC Hydro will pay for the entire study. So that's good news. Plus, they will look at incentives for any upgrades or any changes necessary. So I wanted to report out to council that we are going to move forward with that study and take a good look at everything. And I'm sure we'll realize some savings in there that'll more than pay for that. And another item I want to touch base on was actually the access road at the soccer parks. Through the winter months, we have traditionally to date kept that road open and plowed it on a regular basis. I guess what I'm looking for maybe is a feeling from council of whether they want to continue that access, that parking lot per se, because it's not actually a road, open throughout the winter months, or if they would just prefer to have it accessible during events at the event center. Because staff could certainly have that closed off and then open it up, plow it, have it prepped for any events. Or if council wishes, we can maintain that year round. But it is becoming, it's definitely a cut across for a lot of people. Although it's not a road, but it is a public parking lot, so either way. I think the only thing that we would want to, and we've posted signs, is just deter any overnight truck parking or anything like that. But
So you're saying just the parking lot and the road, or?
well, it is just a parking lot between 116 and 122. So I guess I'm looking to see if we want to maintain that road or that parking lot open on a regular basis and plow it and keep it clear, or just have it opened up for events, in which case we may look at actually barricading it off except for those events.
Okay, Councillor Malkinson, then Councillor Parslow.
Madam Chair, is it causing difficulties? Are we going to see a report on this, or are there sort of problems with keeping it open during the winter? Snow removal certainly, but any vehicles parking overnight or something like that?
We haven't seen too many vehicles that we have posted it. We have seen some people go in there and I'll use the term joyride, spin circles around in there and whatnot, but not to date. But it is our private property, and it's just whether we want to maintain that thoroughfare. So either way, for staff, it's not problematic in either way. Just I guess what the expectation would be.
Well, would it save money if we didn't? Or would it increase the amount of time the equipment would be used cleaning residential areas?
Right. Of course, if we maintain it on a regular basis, we would be through there more than if we were to close it off and only open it for events, of course, depending on snowfall. But to pass through there and grade it, take us, say, an hour. It's not a huge amount of time that it takes us, but it's just whether we want to maintain that thoroughfare through there. So yeah, there would be a slight savings there.
Councillor Sherman?
I don't see any point. There's no soccer, there's no baseball during the winter months. So if you want to clear it for extra parking for events, that sounds like a good idea. But otherwise, I don't know why it would be needed to be cleared. Just my opinion.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, and we definitely do want to leave it open for events to encourage people to use that.
Are we looking for a motion?
Do you want a resolution?
I don't think we can do that in committee of the whole, people.
Hey, we are.
You can't. You're in the committee of the whole, but also, it's a parking lot to us.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing it unless you tell us it's a road to you. So
So you don't need
the
an
absence of
official-
action means that we won't be doing anything.
Jim?
Through you, Madam Chair, just before Kevin leaves, Councillor Wilbur was earlier mentioning that she had already received some complaints regarding snow removal. So you're in that portion of your complaint season. During the winter, the complaint is that you don't sand enough, you don't salt enough, and you don't plow enough, and you certainly don't blow the roads wide enough. And then in the spring, the complaint is you did too much of that and the gravel is all over people's lawns. But you're just in the snow removal complaint window. But it's important on the whole topic of expectations. Your own policy says if we get a normal winter where it snows 2 days out of 5, but never a big dump of more than 18 centimeters at a time, that a residential, person living in a residential neighborhood should expect to see the grader 3 times the entire year. That's your policy based on the resources you have. When the sun starts shining Wednesday, your phones are gonna ring off the hook from people who say, why is there not a grader here? But your standard is the grader will be there 3 times all winter, not every time the sun shines. That's your policy. Different policies are possible with more resourcing, but this is not the resourcing that's been provided. Kevin has enough money for the grader to be in your area 3 times in the year. There's separate provision if we have one of the big dumps, because you authorize the hiring of extra graders for that one-time expense. And your standard there is 6 days from the end of the big dump. But that's not the normal thing. There wasn't a big dump. Most residential areas are not going to see the grader unless there's no more snowfall, because what's going to happen is more snow is going to build up, say on the weekend, and they're going to have to go back to the priorities, which are the hills and the bus routes and the hospitals and the schools, and nobody's coming to the residential zone. That's your standard.
So how many times
Yeah,
a
I
year?
was-
3 times a year.
Which is a 300% improvement when I lived in the city.
Any other, Councillor Wilbur?
I just wanted to add, like, I seen the trucks and everybody out there over the weekend, over the last few days, they're doing a really good job, and I think it just boils down to what I've told people is have patience. It just snowed. We're just getting into the season, and for Pete's sake, we live in the north. It's gonna snow. We gotta have some patience. So, but good job, Kevin,
Yeah.
to everybody
Yeah.
there out there. They're coming to work. They're getting it done, so.
Did you ever
Not
remember?
staying at home.
Okay.
Hidden in there.
Councillor Parslow?
Question, are you still fixing potholes when they get reported?
We can certainly take a look at them. We would have to get some Instapatch. If it's a significant hazard.
I managed to come in contact with 2 significant potholes. One on 8th Street going north, and then north of the roundabout towards Busy Bee area. And that shook me a little bit, banged my head. So it's not a little thing. And the other one, of all places, was picking up one of my granddaughters from Harkey. You know that paved area between the old regional library building and the former Centennial Pool?
Right.
There's pretty good 2 there. that,
Okay, we will
might
take a look.
cause some smaller vehicles to have some damage.
Certainly. And finally, just on the topic of snow, in the report you saw the picture of the new snow blower that we took possession of about 2 weeks ago. So the way things are going, you might see that sooner than later. So
I just regret to report to Madam Chair, if that snow blower turns its nozzle towards your front windows, it really is gonna be like gunfire.
Well, as long as there's no people. Oh, wait a minute, that's my office there now. Well, I'll just keep heads up when I hear it coming.
All right.
Boards all over your.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Okay, report from Director of Community Services.
Morning.
Morning.
Snow plowing was a topic of conversation at our morning breakfast, and I have to report out that, as Ryder calls him, G-Paw, 78 years old, is now living this way as well. He reflected that in Kenora he never saw a snowplow, so I'm not sure whether that was just his forgetfulness this morning or they don't actually do that much. And
Barry's moving Kenora to Dawson Creek one person at a
apparently.
time.
Thank you,
Person at
Barry.
a time, yes, yes. Just a quick overview of the report submitted. Thank Duncan and Taylor for getting this together. Key announcement and a staff personnel shift, and working very close with Shelley as this impacted her department. Karen Boakman has moved over to take over the recreation clerk position, and we're in a transition where Taylor will be also going back over to the pool and picking up some time there. So Taylor is helping with transition and training with Karen, and we're working very close with Karen to ensure that Shelley's financial needs are met, specifically around year end. And the posting, I think, closed last week, Tara? Soon. For the new payroll.
Oh, yeah, it's closed.
Yeah, so we'll be looking at that file and working very closely with Shelley in that position as well. A number of items, and I just wanted to comment as a follow-up back to the legacy funding. Not more so, you've been updated that Sammy Joe was in town and we had a lot of girls, but I think it's critical that we examine the partnerships that went with that. And I don't want to read out everyone without missing anyone, but if you look at that lengthy list, it certainly shows how continued support for, I think, whether it's sports or recreation or cultural events, the arts, sending bands away or supporting our youth specifically in our community. We have a huge partnership, and I just wanted to thank those people. They know who they are from our perspective. We do a very good job Megan does a great job of tracking them and letting them know, but a thank you to anyone, any corporation, any citizen that supports our programs out there. Sammy Joe, I did get a chance to speak with Sammy Joe this weekend, and she wanted to again relay the hospitality. I was blown away by the enthusiasm. We had over 85 girls in that program, and the legacy that again came from no cost back to the city in the sense of direct cost, legacy cost, and partnership covered that. And I think I've heard a lot of good come out of that. So I think we've got at least 2 more years of funding built up into that program, and we hope to continue to grow the game there. The pool is back up and running as far as I know. I didn't see any additional notes while I was away, and special thanks to staff. That was an exceptionally long and challenging closure, and I wanted to emphasize to council, again, anytime we're into that size of infrastructure, there will be challenges as we move forward, but that pool's taken a lot of people through its doors, and we continue to look for ways to improve on that as well. I wanted to highlight the one partnership that was quite exciting, the SPCDC and the Learn to Swim program, and that partnership with where the SPCDC has the instructors, the special needs instructors, and we supply that administrative support to that. I think that is just a great kudos to our staff and how they work that, and there's benefits all the way around that. A number of highlights within the Recreation Department. I won't go through too many, just please reflect on a lot of work that was done by Erin and the staff downstairs and in the Healthy Workplace Month, which was quite successful. And the winter guide is out, so that means the shift of activities, and internally the staff that put that together do a great job. There were a couple highlights that I wanted to this report to bring forward from Melody's perspective, but she did a great job today, and on the Planning for People website work that was done, and a number of councillors participated in the trivia contest as well. She highlighted today the Candlelight Conservation Dinner, and there were a couple other reports there. We do have the water fill station is now here, and hope to get some photos and an update for council as well as we start to roll out how that partnership within the community will work. A great news story, again, to Matt, for anyone that's been down in the Ken Arena, please stop by. The energy conversion into the LED lights is significant, but most of all the cost savings there that we see, and it's made quite a difference in the lighting in that arena. So to Matt, thanks for that. And finally, under special events, please take the time, councillors, to be aware of all the special events in the community coming up. I know council engages in many of them. There's the Christmas tree light up is specifically one coming up in partnership with the South Peace Oilmen's Association this weekend, and then a number of programs specifically as we get closer to Christmas and sharing with family. So council, please see those as well. And strategically, union contract negotiations, will be meeting with union December the 10th to renew those. David is working very diligently on the Crescent View Park plan to have some information for council at strategic planning. A lot of his energy is going into putting together the plans for the airport work as well. The cemetery expansion is moving quite along, and we're also reviewing an event currently right now, another Hockey Canada event that we will be able to bring more information to council at the next meeting. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Barry.
Okay, I guess I need a motion to recess into the closed. Councillor McFadden, Councillor Malcolmson. So I guess we'll just take a quick break there for,
About 5 maybe in case the media want to interview anyone.
okay.